welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Ava Gaudette here on Go Local Live, and my next guest is a Rhode Island-based photographer. She will be showing this weekend at the Wickford Art Festival, and she does some amazing work. I can't wait to introduce you to Cindy Wilson. Come on out, Cindy. Hi.
Hello.
Come on over to our little spots.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
So this weekend is the Wickford Art Festival. It is the 55th annual art festival, and you have been a long-standing exhibitor there. How many years have you been there?
I have been exhibiting at the festival for 24 years and 23 years in the spot that I'm in now.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So half of its life almost. And what can you tell us about the festival for those of us who may have not checked it out, or what can we expect when we go?
It is a veritable just a group of artists who are there to show what they do, what they create, and they do it in a encampment of almost tent-like edifices, and then the people come. And up to 60,000 people will come to the Wickford Art Festival.
Wow.
And it gives an artist a chance to show work and get feedback about their work that isn't necessarily part of what happens every day. We kind of tend to work in studios or in small groups. And to get that many people coming to the festival is really such a great opportunity. And you see people that you haven't seen for a long time, and you have the same people come back to check out what's new this year that you didn't have in previous years. So as an artist, it's really a wonderful experience. As a patron, to be able to talk to artists and hear about their creative process and what technically what they do, what spiritually they go through in the creative process. I think that the public really does learn a lot, as well as appreciate what's in the booths.
Right. It's kind of cool because it's an art exhibit with the artist there. So instead of just looking at their work and kind of gathering what you get from looking at it, you have the opportunity to talk to them and learn a little bit more about, like you said, their process, which is really fun thing for people who love art.
Right, and you find that artists really are normal people. Well, most of us are normal people.
We try to be normal. And is this also an opportunity to sell your pieces, or is this mostly just an exhibit to show your work?
You know, I like to think of the art festival for me as having duofold. One is to put up new work and get response and possibly sell some pieces, and the other is to let people know what I'm doing in addition to the work that I produce as an artist. So it's great public relations. You can't buy that kind of advertising.
Absolutely, and this is, you're tapping right into your community, and it sounds like a really awesome opportunity.
Yes.
So, like you said, you've been there for 24 years. Each year, do you have sort of a different theme or a different sort of presentation? What is this year's?
Well, I was thinking about that on the way on the way to Providence, and in previous years, I think that what I wanted to do is I just wanted to sell, and so whatever sold the year before, I would have 3 times that many pieces
of that type of
and you can never gauge what people are going to buy, and plus there was a lot of work that I was really happy with that never really saw the light of day, and so what I've come to realize is that the Wickford Art Festival is really showing, is about displaying my passion. And my passion is travel, it is the photographic recording of old buildings, it is photographs of a beautiful morning where I'm up before everybody else in town. And so it really is about the things that I care about. And so my theme this year, I guess, is here's work that I really feel is, comes from my soul, and that and every piece has a story or something that is that I want to talk about.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you are a travel photographer. You've traveled to so many different countries, and we'll definitely talk about that. But you are based in Rhode Island, and a lot of your work is sort of pictures of here in Rhode Island, and they are stunning, by the way. I recommend you go to her website and check it out, cindywilsonphoto.com. I'll plug it again at the end of the interview. Absolutely gorgeous work. What inspires you the most about the landscape here in Rhode Island?
It's beautiful, number one, and there's just something about the light that you get anywhere near the water. It just seems to have more intensity. It tends to illuminate more areas that otherwise would be in shadow. And it also, in some ways, is very dramatic. And one thing that always has touched me is the image of the one house at the edge of the cliff that you don't know who lives there, but it looks like a perfect place to set up shop. And I find that a lot in this state in terms of the scenics. I also, in the state, my family came from the jewelry manufacturing. That's my background. And so mills and factories were a big part of my childhood, and they are all over the state. And another subject that I really love about Rhode Island is that history, the history of manufacturing, the history of the Industrial Revolution.
Exactly,
it's all
started here, yeah.
Yeah, so, that work will be also in the booth. So there are a lot of Rhode Island type situations. But it's interesting also that people from away come to Rhode Island because they think it's exotic here. We have our beaches, we have everything. And I think a real key to photographing locally is to learn to see it through those kind of eyes, just true appreciation, and it's everywhere.
That is a really good point, because I feel like as local Rhode Islanders, we get used to this landscape. We get used to the beaches, we get used to Newport, and it wasn't until I moved away did I realize how unique and gorgeous it is. And so you're right, you sort of have to get out of the idea that this is common, because it isn't like this everywhere.
That's right.
It's very unique. So you do a lot of traveling to kind of exotic countries and exotic landscapes. When was the first time you traveled for this purpose of photographing their country?
I have a very, very dear friend who moved to Italy in 2008, and I went to visit her. And she took care of me so. I never had to worry about what we were going to see that day, where we were going to stay that night, what I was going to eat. My job was to look and see and photograph. And I think that really, it's been dormant for a long time because I traveled after I graduated from college. But that kind of lit the spark. And since then, it's really a big part of what I love to do, is go on an airplane and go to some place that is that's new and different, and the more it's new and different, the more it's the same, which is great, because people are people, and landscapes are beautiful, and so finding those universalities has been a real big part of what I look for in my travel photography, and I find that it's because I'm looking at it through my lens all the time.
Right.
So, I'm the one that's doing the filtering and deciding what's important, and so I find that I know that my vision is consistent when I come back and the pictures feel like they were taken with that same part of me.
Right.
That kind of vision that you can't really put into words.
And that, yeah, you've been to so many different places, like you said. It sort of makes it all the same. It kind of takes away that scariness of going to a place where maybe you know nothing about it, or maybe you don't know the language, and you've been to Italy and Cuba and Vietnam, all these places. How do you choose which places to go to? Is it something preconceived? I've heard this place is beautiful, I'd love to see it, or is it I know nothing about this place, I'd like to go check it out? Kind of all of the above.
There's no plan.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It can be as serendipitous as somebody saying, I've been to a place, I have a guide. If you ever want to go, he will take care of you. And it can be that simple. And then you kind of put the idea out there, and because when I travel, many times I'm leading workshops, it's like how many people would be interested in a trip like this, and then we're on our way.
That is amazing. So you do teach travel photography workshops, and you actually take your students to these places? Is that how it works?
That's exactly how it
That
works.
is so awesome. I thought it was like, oh, come to my studio and I'll teach you, you know. That's way more exciting.
That's part of what I do, is actually teaching out of my studio and teaching out of the Wickford Art Association, because they have a huge agenda of classes, and I've been lucky enough to be able to be one of their instructors for quite a while. But I almost feel like I develop my teaching skills on that local level, so that when I go to a place that's not familiar, I have those, I have those lessons in my head. And with a group, you have all sorts of skill levels. People who are just starting, people who probably could teach me things, and so I have to kind of be available to all levels. And so teaching on the local level has made me a stronger teacher, teaching groups internationally.
That's great. Yeah, being a teacher, I feel like it does that a lot of times. You end up learning from that experience as well, which is, great. So kind of giving back.
Right.
You did bring a couple of pieces I would love to show everyone, and tell me about. I'm going to try to hold this in the right place so that we can see the photo and not the glare.
This is from the April trip to Vietnam, and basically what you're looking at is marching ducks. They have gone through the process of laying their eggs the night before, but the ducks do not sit on their eggs. They have chickens that do that for them.
That is something I never knew about ducks, by the way.
And there's a herder. There's a fellow that kind of pushes them along with a little stick, and they all go to a pond and spend the day there and do duck things. And then at night they go back and they lay their eggs again. But here you have a flock of probably 2,000 ducks, and what they're doing is they're going over a dike where they're coming out of the water, walking over the grass, and then going down the other side, and then kind of paddling away.
That is amazing. And there's actually someone sort of leading them or pushing them from the other side?
It's from behind, yeah.
That is so funny. It's a gorgeous picture. I love the clarity and the color contrast in your photos is just
Thank you.
really gorgeous. Okay, and here's another one.
And this is from a place that's really near and dear to my heart. This is a Cuba photograph, and it's from a small fishing town called Ibarra. And Ibarra is a very intimate setting where you get to know the people in the town because there's not an awful lot of other activity. And in the morning, when the light is really, really nice and warm and directional, it's a really wonderful time to walk around. And with this photograph, I happened to be walking one morning, and in one of the small plazas, there was boxing class, and the light,
cool.
the light cast these beautiful shadows, and you have all these interactions between the boxers. None of them are boxing with each other. They're all kind
literally
of like
shadow boxing.
Yeah. And then you have the guy in the car who's driving by, and he's kind of looking maybe at me, maybe at them, but it kind of like just buttons up the back of the photograph. But this is
really
what Cuba
cool.
is. It's color. It's simplicity. It is a culture that's incredibly vibrant.
You've been there a number of times?
I've been there 5 times.
5 times?
Yes, and I'm going back in January. So
amazing.
Come with me.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. So you also do wedding photography and portrait photography as sort of a business. And I always wonder with artists, do you consider your business and your art separate or one and the same?
That's a really good question. For a long time, they were separate. As a matter of fact, back in the days of film, there were cameras that were just for weddings, and they had and there was a camera that was just for this kind of film, and one for just for that kind of film. And then there are the cameras that I went out and I did my my exploration with. And lately, I have. And a lot of it is because I've been teaching, and teaching just you have to learn so much to teach. I see the intersection. I see the art in the portraiture. I see the art in the wedding work, and so I think that the growth that I've experienced has been that they do become one. But it wasn't always that way.
Yeah, I know it's hard sometimes. As artists, you want to be able to do what you love, but you also want to make a living. And so sometimes it does become two separate endeavors. It's really cool when you can make it one one endeavor. So Cindy, thank you so much for being here again. This weekend, it's the 8th and the 9th, Saturday and Sunday, Wickford Art Festival.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine, they'll be there.
Free parking, 200 artists, vendors, food vendors, Dell's Lemonade.
Dell's, you gotta go.
And the weather looks favorable.
That's awesome. And again, you can go check out her work on her website. It's beautiful, cindywilsonphoto.com.